Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom. Now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show, starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zoellner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go!
We started from the bottom, now we here.
Well, I think a lot of us want to achieve time freedom and financial freedom. A lot of you listening to this show today, I know you want to become a successful entrepreneur, and there's a lot of ways you can do it. I mean, you could start a business from scratch, and if you do that, you're kind of running through the landmine of the minefield of life semi-nude. You're running through the minefield of life semi-nude, hoping that you don't blow yourself up, and you're learning from mistakes instead of mentors. Option 2 is you could buy a franchise or buy a proven method that's been proven to work. Thus, you aren't going to be running through the minefield because somebody's already ran through the minefield, and they have they actually have the scars to prove it. This person has actually gone through the process of making the mistakes and the trial and error, and they've documented the processes and systems that have been shown to work, and now they're allowing you to use that system to grow a successful company so you can have the opportunity to achieve both time and financial freedom. And so today's guest knows a lot about franchising, and I'm super excited to have him on the show here. Peter Taunton, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm well, Clay. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Now, Peter, there's a lot of people out there that kind of know your name. A lot of people right now are going to be Googling your name. Can you tell people what is your initial claim to fame, or tell us about the first business that you helped to scale?
Well, you know what? The first business that I scaled was probably my own. It was a fitness center, but we're talking 35 years ago. And I had an opportunity to turn around a failing health club and was successful at doing that, and then expanded that to 6 or 7 locations. I did that over 20 years. And then sold that company and thought I was going to try to do something else, and got right back into the fitness space and created a franchise concept called Snap Fitness. And that was my first franchise concept. I had no franchise experience. I learned as I went. I kind of fixed the plane in the air and went on to build one of the largest franchise brands in the world.
So what I want to focus on today is, how to build or buy a scalable model. So let's focus first on how to build one. I know that a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to listen to podcasts that talk about processes and checklists and systems and documented workflows, but there's a lot of that goes into it. It can't be a tribal knowledge. The business plan can't be just in your head. Can you talk to us about the importance of documenting those systems as you built your first franchise?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, the product you're thinking about, it's got to be relevant. And there's a lot of times that I'm working with people and they've got these pet projects. They're really passionate about it, but unfortunately, they're the only one in the room that's really passionate about it, where people are going to bet their hard-earned or invest their hard-earned money into the concept. So the first step of it is product relevance. The best way to test it is put your money where your mouth is. Build one store. I'm not going to talk to you about systems, processes, but the first step in the process is let's make sure the dogs are eating the dog food. So you've got to put your own cash to work, get a store open, and make sure that it is performing how you thought it would. And you're going to learn a lot in that process. In my case, when I built my first brand, I put it in an urban market. It performed well. I wasn't done. I turned and I put it into a mid-sized market to see if it would perform the same way. It did. And then the proof in the pudding was can I put this in a little town? I put it in a town of 3,500 people, and all three of them performed well. The unit level economics fell into place. Each one of those markets, the dynamics were a little bit different. In some cases, the overhead was a little bit more, but the fundamentals of the business held strong, and the unit level economics held strong. And when I did that in all three markets, at that point, I knew I had a tiger by the tail, and that's when I began my first franchise.
And so once you've taken the time to document these proven systems and processes, you can't just run around telling people, well, I'm opening a franchise. You have to actually build a franchise disclosure document. You have to document all the systems and processes, and it's a federally regulated concept. That's what a franchise is. And so if somebody wants to buy a franchise, they have to request a franchise disclosure document. And in that document, you have item 19 that discloses all the financials, and you have all these different aspects of the FDD that really lays out everything, and it has to be buttoned up. Can you talk to the listeners out there about the challenges of building a franchise disclosure document and what kind of work and cost goes into building one of those?
You know what? I've been in franchising for about 25 years, and the franchising market space has really developed and evolved. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of sharks out there in the franchising space. There's a lot of companies out there. They're going to charge you $70,000, $80,000 to put this FDD together and kind of teach you the fundamentals of franchising. I don't think that it's necessary. I mean, personally, I think if you take a step back, if you do a little bit of research, invest in yourself, you can find your way through the process. Hire a good franchise attorney to draft your FDD. The FDD, most of the language in there is boilerplate.
Yep.
As you mentioned earlier, Clay, it's highly regulated. So there's not the item 19. There's a number of different exhibits in the FDD that are going to talk about the build out costs, the performance, the fundamentals of the business. Those are the only items where you really have input. The other areas are to protect your system. So it's highly regulated, and with the right franchise attorney, they can walk you through that process.
Now, a lot of people, Peter, my background in the franchising space was after I built my first company called DJconnection.com. We were doing 4,000 events a year, and the business was rocking. We're doing 4,000 events a year. And so companies like UPS or Maytag or eXp Realty, they would hire me to come out and teach their franchisees the importance of following the systems. And I thought, really? People buy a franchise? And I was 24 years old, 25 years old. I'm going, you mean to tell me that people would pay for the system and then not want to use the system? And these CEOs and executives, they would say, oh yeah, we've got 400 locations. And the biggest challenge we face right now is to get the franchisees to want to follow the systems, because our top performing franchisees are all following the systems and it works. And then the ones that are not doing as well, they're the ones that are not following the system. And we as a franchisor make a percentage of what the franchisees make. So we want them to be successful. We want them to do it. So if you could come in and maybe come in as a fresh voice or a fresh approach and talk about the importance of following systems. And I thought, okay. And over time, I learned that it's so important that franchisees who buy a franchise follow the systems. They follow the recipe. Can you talk about that? The importance of, when someone buys a franchise, whether it be one of your brands or another brand, why it's important for the franchisee to actually follow the systems that they bought the right to use?
It's critical. And I'll tell you, from my experience on 3 separate occasions, I've created three franchise or licensed brands, and I've grown them all to over 1,000 locations. Today, I have over 6,000 locations in 28 countries. And I completely understand and appreciate the thought, the premise of systems and processes. The reality of it is, though, if you have a good franchise concept and you've got everything buttoned down, you've got systems, processes, you've created everything from the real estate process. Hey, look, from my perspective, we award franchise opportunities. I'm in the process right now of launching my 4th brand. And in 18 months, I've awarded 160 territories. We've opened 40 stores. We've got over 50 stores in the build-out process. That's not dumb luck. That's understanding systems and processes. And I can't stress it enough. There's a lot of people out there that have franchises. They've been doing it for 10 years. They have 12 locations. Hey, look, that's barely franchising, in my opinion. It's barely franchising. If you have something that's going to work, that means that you've got systems and processes from the real estate selection process, the lease negotiating, the construction process, the build out of your store, the training, the marketing strategy behind the brand, and then the launch. And then beyond that, it's the ongoing support. You alluded to it earlier, Clay. Our interests are completely aligned. If I want to make more money, I have to help my stores sell more product. It's that simple. I'm not going to raise the royalty fee. That's blindsiding your franchisees. I'm launching an acai bowl concept right now. Our royalties are 6% and 2% that goes into a national marketing fund. It's a very fair and very consistent royalty in compared to the other food and beverage hospitality royalties that are out there. So systems, processes, it's everything.
Now, I want to pull this up real quick because you mentioned your newest concept that you're working on. I know the concept, a proven process. This is the newest business that you're working on. Can you tell us about this new brand, Nautical Bowls, and what has you so excited about this particular brand?
Well, when I get into this, look, when I left I was the founder and CEO of those 3 previous brands that I left 4 years ago. I left to go on to do something different because I'd been doing it for 25 years. One of the first calls I received was from Forbes. I'm a Forbes masterclass instructor. And I got a call one day from a couple of kids. I can say that they were about 26 at the time. I'm 60. And they said, look, we've got this acai bowl concept. And we come to find that we live a couple of miles from you at your lake house in Minnesota. Would you mind if we came by and we showed you what we're doing? And as a couple of days evolved, I said, look, if it were me, I would franchise this concept. And they said, look, we don't know anything about franchising. And I said, that's what I do. And I said, look, I tell you what, I'll get involved with you guys. We'll be equal partners and I run the company. And it was, you know what, these guys, this young couple, Rachel and Bryant, they're great people. They're very coachable. And I lean on them when I need to. But at the end of the day, we've assembled a great team. What do I love about the product? I love the relevance. We spoke about it earlier. Are the dogs eating the dog food? And in this case, this is a product. It's acai bowls. It's an emerging category. It's plant-based, gluten-free, soy-free, certified organic, no refined sugar. It's a great product, and it's exactly what people are looking for. It's not dessert. It's a meal replacement. And what's interesting about it, Clay, if we stopped 100 people on the highway and held up a sign that said acai, and if we asked them, what does this word mean? Most of them would call it, 75% of it would call it acai. And then we would ask them, have you ever tried an acai bowl before? 75% of them would say no. But when you give them a bowl, they're going to taste it and it's going to be fantastic. It's a meal replacement. So it's the hottest category within the healthy, fast casual space. And there's a reason for it. I think personally, this country is experiencing salad fatigue. Salads are overdone. They've been around forever. People are looking for a meal replacement. And this product, it tastes great and it's good for you.
Now, I want to walk the listeners out there through this concept. If you're reaching out today, and our listeners know I'm involved with OxyFresh and a brand called TipTopCanine.com and other franchise systems, so I'm going to be very objective about this. You really don't want to buy a franchise that doesn't align with your desire to run it. So think about this for a second. If you don't like dogs, you probably don't want to go to Tip Top Canine and learn about opening a dog training franchise, okay? If you really, really hate the idea of carpet, you might not want to own a franchise that is focused on carpet cleaning like OxyFresh. If you loathe the idea of eating healthy, you probably don't want to go to nauticalbowls.com and buy a franchise. However, I've met people, Peter, that own a Domino's franchise and will never eat there. And I know people that are very successful as an OxyFresh franchise owner who don't have carpet in their home and don't recommend carpet. So I do know people that are very successful as a franchise owner, even though they have no interest in the niche. Can you maybe explain how that's possible in franchising?
Yeah. Of course. In fact, when candidates come to me, look, there's nothing wrong with getting into a business that you're not passionate about. A lot of people get into business and get into different vertical financial opportunities, and they're just looking for diversity in their investment portfolio. I'm personally okay with that. In fact, 80% of our franchisees are semi-absentee owners.
Yep.
What does that mean? That means they didn't quit their day job. The other thing that's unique about our concept is you don't need any restaurant experience. In our stores, it's a small footprint. I always say it's a lemonade stand on steroids. There's no cooktops. There's no exhaust hoods. There's some areas require a grease trap, but look, we can go anywhere. So it's a very simple build out, 750 to 1,100 square feet. 80% of our franchisees are semi-absentee operators, and the product is relevant. It's the other part that they love about it, one full-time employee. Okay, one full-time employee and about 10 to 15 part-timers. That's a big deal, Clay. I mean, I own restaurants. I've got 60 to 80 employees. It's like herding cats. Okay. I purposely, in designing this concept, we said, look, we're going to dummy this thing down. All we're going to sell is acai bowls, and we're going to do it better than anyone else. And there's a lot of other concepts out there that sell acai bowls, but they sell salads, wraps, sandwiches, avocado toast, smoothies, and acai bowls. You know what? That's a much more technical business.
Yeah.
I focus on acai bowls. And as I said, we do it better than anyone else. There's no one growing faster than we are in the acai bowl space. No one.
Let me pull this up real quick here. And I'm not saying that you endorse my diagram here, but this is from page 5 of my book that anybody out there can download for free. I call this book here A Millionaire's Guide on How to Become Sustainably Rich. And if you go to page 5 of this book, which everybody can download for free, you go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You can download this book. This is kind of how I see a business. This is kind of the workflow. And I always tell people, box 1, you got to figure out, okay, what are your revenue goals? And most people say, I don't know. Box 2, you got to know your break-even numbers. You got to know, how many acai bowls do you have to sell to break even? And the number of hours that you're willing to work. Do you want to manage it yourself, or do you want to have other people do it? Next is, what is your unique value proposition? The next box is your branding. Does your branding look like it's good, or does your branding look hood? Think about it. Marketing. Your marketing. Do you have a turnkey marketing process? Next, sales. Have you thought about the pricing and the scripts and the systems? The next box is, how much does it cost you to get a new customer? The next box is, do you have repeatable systems and processes? The next box, do you know how to manage people? What kind of schedule do you have to have? What kind of team do you have to run the business? The next is a repetitive weekly schedule. What hours of operation will you keep? The next is human resources. How easy is it to train people to do the job? And the next box finally is, accounting. Does it make money? And what's the point of achieving success? And you guys have nailed all of it at Nautical Bowls. You guys have thought through the entire concept and the process. So if people are going to nauticalbowls.com, they're thinking about going there right now, what's the process? What does that process look like if they want to know more about potentially buying a nauticalbowls.com franchise?
And here's the other thing, Clay, thank you for your kind words. Number one, that is click on franchise. But number two, a very important component, all of the brands that I've ever launched, I try to make it affordable to the common person. Okay, meaning you need 100,000 cash to get into this business. So look, I know that's a lot of money. I grew up youngest of 7, poor. I get it, but this is not a lot of money to get into a business of this caliber. It takes 100,000 cash. You need to have a net worth of $250,000 or more. Be able to provide your last 2 years tax return. Okay, if you can click those boxes, I can get you financially approved. These businesses, they cost you 100,000 cash, and then we have financing partners. They'll finance the balance, which is between 2 and 250,000. They'll finance it for 10 years for you, no penalty for early payoff. Wow. That's what most of our franchisees do. We make it very easy for them to get into the business. The other side of it, going back to your chart, Clay, creative marketing. Okay, if you're a great franchise, don't put that in the hands of your franchisees. You got to give them the digital assets to shine, okay? Because many of them are getting into a business that they've never been in before.
Yep.
And that's the proof of a great franchise concept. Can I take a bus driver, a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home dad, a serious entrepreneur? Every walk of life, I got to be able to take them, bring them into my family, and teach them how to fish. So how do we do that? It's by providing the digital assets for them where they can just cut and paste and go. So that's the key for them. I mean, once again, most people in today's day and age, they're not looking to be busier. They're looking for diversity in their investment portfolio, and they're looking for ROI.
You know what? I'll tell you what, this brand is so hot. I encourage people, if you haven't checked out nauticalbowls.com, look into it. And then, Peter, if people want to just learn more about you, do you have a website that you send people to if they want to learn about you, or do you have a place they go to?
I just sent them to my Instagram, which is Peter _Taunton, Peter _Taunton, TAUNTON.
Got it. Okay. I'll put a link there so people
just go there, and
okay,
you got it. So it's simple. It's and I post stuff on there every day. So just different messages and whatnot. I don't know why that didn't come up for you.
Oh, it's probably not coming up. It's probably some sort of a technological issue on my side, but I'll put a link there so people can go there.
Yeah.
And then once you're logged into Instagram, it'll work there. Peter, I appreciate you very much for joining us today. During the final 30 seconds, sir, I'll give you the final word. A lot of our listeners are taking notes there. They've learned a lot today. What would be the final word you want to share with our listeners out there, sir?
Look, I'd say, first of all, thanks for the opportunity. But secondly, for all of you that have always dreamed about being your own boss and looking for that, getting on that path of financial freedom, look, the first thing to do, you create your plan. Clay's done a good job of outlining that. But the hardest thing to do is to make the jump. And I know it's going to be scary for some of you, but understand nothing happens until you make action, until you take the jump. And understand, if you're looking at one of my brands, if you're looking at Nautical Bowls, we'll hold your hand through the process.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Peter, for carving out time. I know you're a busy guy, and I really do. I know time is your most important asset. And when somebody like yourself has worked hard to earn that time freedom, I really do appreciate you taking the time to be here with our listeners. Again, thank you so much, sir. We'll put a link to nauticalbowls.com in the description. Take care and have a great day.
Hey, Clay, thanks for the time. I appreciate you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminex, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, like our Google reviews that we've gotten people really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah. So here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months. Or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with. So.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those, and that system has really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut, and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. They taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. But we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive, quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He's not a hologram. I've known him, I believe, for almost a decade. Brett Denton, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Yeah, man, I think it feels like forever with you, Clay, because you go like a million miles an hour. So it's more like a century. But yeah, it's been a little over a decade now. I'm doing great.
Yeah. It's awesome. And how I first started working with you, I believe, is working with your company called Cavell Fit. Can you tell everybody out there, what is Cavell Fit, and what kind of work did we do to help you grow that business?
Yeah, so I actually had heard about you on the John Lee Dumas podcast, and we were in the process of looking for a coach. At the time, I had a partner, and we were looking to expand and grow our fitness company. So it's a brick and mortar fitness company. We do boutique personal training, boutique group training, and we were looking to implement systems. We're really trying to take it, one step further, start expanding, start growing. We're at one facility at the time, and so we were just looking for somebody with a little bit more knowledge on how to help us do that, how to build the systems to be able to scale.
Now, every client that I work with, what I try to do is help break down this complicated thing called success and turn it into core, repeatable, actionable processes, things that I affectionately call CRAP, core, repeatable, actionable processes. So to grow Cavell, if we can go back to that for a second, to grow Cavell, I mean, it's a gym. Can you tell everybody out there, what are the services that Cavell Fit did provide and currently does provide?
Yeah, so when we had come on with you, I think the only thing that we were providing was group fitness training and maybe a little bit of nutrition. At this current juncture, we provide personal training, we provide group fitness training, we provide nutrition and challenges. And we actually had grown, this is pre-COVID, we had grown using your tutelage to 2 facilities and a third one in the works. And so, again, relying on the systems and processes and kind of the boring things. At this point, I tell people it's all the boring things that you taught us that really make the difference in our scalability.
Now, I have a visual diagram I'm going to pull up, and I use the same system with every business I'm involved in. And so it's kind of a way to take out of my brain the system and make it where everyone can see it. And I don't hide the system. I teach it to people. Box number 1, we have to figure out your revenue goals. And I know working with you with Cavell, if we go back over a decade, you had revenue goals in your mind. Box 2, we have to know how many customers we need to break even. Why is it so important for the listeners out there to know how many customers they need to break even?
Well, just from my experience, if you don't know how many customers you need to break even, you don't know how much to charge, you don't know how to watch your expenses, you don't really have a good hold on your business. It's kind of like flying a plane without looking at any of the, without looking at the panel, like you don't know your elevation, you don't know where you are in sky, you don't know where the ground is. And so if you don't really know that break even, then how are you going to know, if you're making money or not?
Now, box 3, you and I have never really had to talk about this box too much, but some entrepreneurs want to have massive success without putting in massive amount of work. We've never had to figure out how many hours per week you're willing to work. You're a guy that was a walk-on football player that ended up earning a spot on the roster there in Division I football. You started a business from nothing. But a lot of people do need a little pushing on that. Now, box number 4 is determining your unique value proposition. And I would argue that at Cavell Fit, you weren't the first guy to develop the idea of a group fitness class. but we had to find a way to help Cavell stand out in the cluttered marketplace. Can you talk about the importance of having a coach work with you to figure out how you could stand out in the cluttered in the cluttered marketplace?
Yeah, I think having a coach in general helps you see the forest for the trees or the trees for the forest, depending on what issue you're having. And this is a big issue in the fitness space. In the fitness space, like many spaces, it's very competitive. There's a new fitness franchise popping up, it seems like every other month. And so if you don't really understand what your value is and why you're unique in the marketplace, it's really hard to compete and just be another another gym or another personal trainer or another whatever your widget is. And so I think, again, having a coach be able to see outside of what you can see because you're in your business on a day-to-day basis and try to pull that out of, what you currently offer or offer something new, I think is invaluable.
Now, improving your branding, whether it's dog training or now you're selling logs too. You're selling logs. No matter what business you're involved in, the branding has to be great. Brett, you recently purchased a new business. Could you tell us about your new company, sir?
Yeah, so I purchased Sawtooth Wood Products. We sell logs. We do fencing. We're a contractor. We sell power equipment. Well, again, it gets into a little bit of the commodity business. I would argue fitness is a commodity at this point too. And so you really got to, number one, define your niche. So what's your value proposition? Then number two is your branding better than your competition. And this is something that we continue to work on every single week, every single month, because everything continues to evolve. And so we continue to want to look better. And with our new business, a little bit with Cavell Fitness too, but with our new business, we really cater to the high-end clientele. So the ultra wealthy affluent. And so if our brand doesn't look on par with what they're used to, we're going to lose business. And so we got to make sure that branding looks the part.
Now, are you going to go, or did you decide to go with a website for Sawtooth Wood Products, or do you decide to market primarily via fax machine?
Yeah, fax machine. Yeah. We're flying the airplanes in the sky around the city is actually what we're doing. No, we got to have a website, and okay. The website is ultra important. Not only the look and the feel of it, but also, are we ranking, and again, this is something that we actually had no clue about before we started with Clay. And since we started with Clay, we've the search engine optimization, SEO, which I'd never heard the term before, the importance of the Google map and how to optimize that. How else do we get people to our website? Because a website is great and it can look as pretty as you want it to look. But at the end of the day, if nobody's coming to the website, it's not doing you good either anyway. So we needed to look the part and we need to drive people there.
Now, we work with you with three brands right now. We work with Cavell Fit. We work with Tip Top Canine. You're a franchisee. And we work with sawtoothwoodproducts.com. Can you share with the listeners out there, we're going to go to this next box here. Why is it important that as you're marketing that you actually ask people or that your team asks people over the phone how they heard about you? Why is that so important that it's Sawtooth or Tip Top or that, Cavell? Why is it important that you don't just rely on what people check on the form and that you actually ask people how they heard about you?
Well, the way that I've understood marketing to work is people have to see you multiple times. So they might see, let's take Tip Top, for example. So, the Tip Top cars are wrapped, they're bright, they're yellow. So they might see the car and then they might see one of our Google ads. And then their friend might say, hey, I use Tip Top. And then all of a sudden they see on Facebook, and then finally they click the link. And the one thing that they remember is maybe the Facebook. And so we want to ask them because then we can have that conversation with them. And then instead of it just being one answer, we can say, oh, there's actually 4 things. We need to make sure that we keep those 4 things going, keep continuing to spend marketing dollars on those things instead of just getting rid of all the rest. So, let's say everybody started coming in through Facebook. Now, we probably need to pay attention to that. But at the end of the day, if you're not having those conversations, you might start to realize, oh, they're actually searching us on Google and then everybody's going to our Facebook page and that's just how they come into us. And that's the last thing they remember.
Now, this next box here is, again, we have sales conversion, sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets. You have to have that. If you're listening today, folks, you got to have sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets. Now, the next box is you have to determine how much it costs you to get a customer. And I don't care whether it's Cavell Fit or Tip Top, you have to ask the question, how much money am I spending on advertising? and how many leads am I getting? And then so if you're spending $350 a week on ads and you're getting 10 leads, then you're spending $35 per lead. Why is it important that on a weekly basis that you hop on a coaching call, whether it be for Tip Top Canine or Sawtooth, and you take that moment to look at your numbers and go, how much am I spending per lead?
Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, if you don't really have a coach to do that, there's very few people coming from the fitness space. There's very few people who do what they know they should be doing on a weekly basis, unless they have an accountability person there, whether it be a personal trainer, a business coach, whatever it is. And so those things that we know we should do, but they aren't that sexy, they're not that fun, those are really the things that a coach is probably most valuable in helping hold you accountable to. And so every week we look at those numbers to make sure, where am I at? How's my business doing? How much money am I spending on marketing? How much do I have coming back in? Am I losing money? Am I making money, et cetera? Dan Kennedy talks a lot about the fact that if you can spend more than your competitors to win customers, you're going to win for your industry. And so again, if you don't look at your numbers, you don't know how much you're spending on leads, you got no clue what's going on.
In 10 years, we've never talked about Dan Kennedy, but I'll say I love Dan Kennedy because he's a very realistic author. And he's not telling people, how to make $1 million in 7 minutes. He's not trying to teach people that the Google algorithm is dramatically changed. He's not a get-rich-quick guy. Dan Kennedy's a process guy, and I really love that. And I want to show people this. If anybody goes to Elephant in the Room, eitrlounge.com, and you were to buy an Elephant in the Room franchise, a couple things. It's going to cost you a lot of money. And why? Because you have to build a physical location. You had to build an actual store. We cut hair. So you got to open up a location. You got to open up a shop. You got to do the build outs. You got to do the shampoo rooms, the front entry. And maybe you're out there and you're listening and you're a skilled builder, but every store I've done costs me hundreds of thousands of dollars to build out. And so when I was opening up the Elephant in the Room franchises, I told you, I said, Brett, I remember saying this to you. I said, you don't want to buy an Elephant in the Room. No, you don't, because it's going to cost so much money to do it. Now, the systems we have are great, but I think a Tip Top Canine would be great for you and your sister. It's the same systems and the processes that we've built for all my companies, but it's I think it's a move because it's under 60 grand to get started. All the systems are there. I'm just showing you, this is what, if you buy an Elephant in the Room franchise, these are all the documents you have, all the processes, and you pretty much knew, okay, if you built Tip Top Canine processes, they're going to run the same as Elephant in the Room, and they're going to run the same as Cavell. And it's going to be a thing. Can you talk about the importance in your decision to buy a Tip Top Canine, how important it was knowing that we were using the same systems that we had used to build Elephant in the Room and the other companies that we'd coached you with?
Yeah. And so, we had been looking for a way to expand and to grow outside of our fitness business. I was looking for something my sister could do. And I had come to you multiple times about Elephant in the Room. And every time you just said, hey, why don't you, I don't recommend it, but why don't you come and you visit one and you kind of work through it and figure out if that's something you want to do, figure if that's how much you want to spend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then Tip Top came along and yeah, it made a lot more sense. We had the processes in place, just like we did with Elephant in the Room. And so I knew that I could take that, give it to my sister, and then she would then be successful just by running the systems. And I wouldn't be, so far in the hole like I would with an Elephant in the Room, and we could start it, out of her house and then eventually build a facility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, it was all based on those systems. And that's the only reason, frankly, that we decided to do it. So same thing, we went and we visited Tip Top. We worked through it with them. We worked through with Clay what the systems were going to look like, how it was all going to function. And without the systems, there's no way we would have done it. I mean, we were both my sister was jumping from a real estate career to a dog training career. And so without the systems in place, there's no way I would have spent the money on it. And it's not like it's cheaper than an Elephant in the Room, but you're still dropping some change. So
now when you buy a franchise, you got these systems. So box 10, you got to manage, you got to hold people accountable. And I think that's really the value of the coaching system. And that's why when somebody goes to tiptopcanine.com and requests a franchise, I feel like they're going to have success. I feel comfortable selling it. I feel comfortable talking about it because I know that if you buy a Tip Top Canine franchise, you won't throw a gutter ball because someone's going to hold you accountable to doing the tasks on a weekly basis. And I think if you're not careful, Brett, and you've seen this in the fitness space, and we've talked about this, if you're not careful focusing on the things that grow your company, you get distracted on things that don't matter. And in the fitness space, particularly, there's always a new way to track Google leads. There's a new way to optimize the website. The algorithms have changed. There's a new hiring process. ZipRecruiter has found a way to find the best employees. If you're not careful, Brett, I mean, there's a fad of the week, a fad of the year, a fad of the month. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, of what would a franchise look like, a tip-top canine franchise look like in your mind if you didn't have that weekly accountability to hold someone accountable to following the systems?
Well, the problem with most business owners, as you know, Clay, is the shiny object syndrome. And I had it probably worse than anything. I'm still recovering from it. But I think that's one of the things that you had taught me is, with the weekly meetings, it keeps us on path and it keeps us focused on the things we need to be focused on. Because there's all kinds of other BS that you could focus on that don't really grow your business. And marketers are good and the sales reps are good and they all sound great. But at the end of the day, it's the simple things that you do over and over again, the boring things that you do over and over again. But if you don't, it's like, again, I'll go back to personal training because it's similar. If you don't work out, if you don't have a personal trainer to hold you accountable to work out, you're not going to get results. If you don't eat the right foods with a personal trainer holding you accountable, you're not going to get results. And so it's the same with coaching. It's the same in Tip Top. It's the same in Cavell. It's the same in Sawtooth. Without the coach helping you, the systems don't mean anything if you don't implement them. And so without the coach making sure that you're implementing those systems, it doesn't work.
Now, I'm going to pull this up here as we kind of wrap up this particular session here, Brett, is you want to create a sustainable and repetitive weekly schedule. I mean, in the fitness business, if you grab a new client that goes to cavellfit.com to sign up for training, and you were like, imagine, I know you don't do this, but imagine you did. And by the way, Tip Top Canine, it's $1 for the first lesson. Cavell Fit, it's $1 to start the body transformation program. A lot of analogous systems that if you go to Elephant in the Room, it's $1. You see a lot of these systems. Brett, imagine you told somebody, okay, no, Sarah, we're going to work out every third Monday at 7 a.m. Now, every second Tuesday at 8 p.m. and every fourth Thursday at 7 a.m. And there's only 17 things I want you to remember. There's 17 things to remember. And every week the schedule changed. And every week the workout changed. And every week the diet plan changed. What would happen to your fitness clients? Because you've produced so many successful before and after clients at Cavell. What would happen if you changed the workout time on somebody every week, changed the fitness program every week, and then brought in a new guest speaker to pontificate about their theories about what could be a successful fitness regimen? What would happen?
Well, frankly, I think that's what most people try to do until they determine that doesn't work. And then they go find a coach and stick with that one coach. We always tell our people, like, hey, you got to find a plan. If it's our plan, great. We think our plan is the best. But if it's not our plan, then great. But whatever you do, find a plan. Stick with that plan. What is it always you say, Clay? Focus. What is focus again?
Focus on core tasks until success.
That's it. And so it's the same thing. Find one plan, one nutrition plan, one workout plan, and work on it until you've come to the end of that plan. You've achieved some results there and you can't get anything more out of that plan, which most plans in fitness and in business, they work forever, and your business just keeps getting better and better and better, or your body keeps getting better and better and better.
Now, Brett, a final question I want to ask you this, because fitness, in my opinion, is very similar. Fitness coaching is very similar to business coaching. One of my great clients, I won't mention his name because I don't have permission to do so, but he tells his clients, listen, if you sign up for my fitness program, my one-on-one training program, you can eat meat, you can eat vegetables, and only drink water. And if you do that, and follow my program, you'll have success. But if you don't do that, now this is kind of a boutique business. He says, if you don't do that, and he wants you to track your meals. If you don't do that, I'm going to charge you double for your personal training, and it's going to be in the contract. So you're going to only eat meat, only have vegetables, only have water. He says, Clay, my clients, they have dramatic results. And he says, but the thing is, they get a little frustrated with me that I'm not open to new ideas. and they almost want me to like, they bring in magazines and they go, hey, here's a new magazine I just read. This is a new way to help people improve their metabolism. This is a new approach. And he says, even though they're getting results, they always want a new approach. Do you see that in fitness where clients, even though they're getting results, they want a new approach? Do you see that?
Yeah, always. It's a boredom factor. And it's, again, results aren't sexy. The things that you need to do to get results aren't sexy. It's just a matter of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and making sure that those are the right things. But yeah, almost invariably, at some point they're going to get bored and want to try something else.
3 rapid fire questions. If people want to buy copious amounts of logs from you, what's the website they need to go to buy copious amounts of logs from you, sir?
Yeah, it's Sawtooth Wood Products, like a saw that you saw trees with, sawtoothwoodproducts.com. That's
okay.
Our fencing and tree and log business.
For anybody out there who's thinking about buying a franchise, what do you think the importance is of having weekly coaching, I guess specifically under the Tip Top Canine mindset, because you own a Tip Top Canine? What's the importance of coaching, sir, weekly coaching?
Yeah, I don't think, in my opinion, anybody who wants to perform at a high level in whatever it is you want to perform at, you need a coach. And it's not always that the coach is smarter than you. Sometimes they are, sometimes they have systems and stuff, but really it's accountability. Are you showing up on a weekly, monthly, whatever it is that the arrangement is? Without it, you're not going to perform at your best in business and fitness and sports, whatever it is.
And then what are your thoughts on Andrew? 'Cause I've worked with you personally for 10 years. How would you describe Andrew's consulting or coaching? Because I've worked with you personally, and we only take on 160 clients. So, Andrew works with your sister and with the Tip Top Canine brand. How would you describe your experience working with Andrew?
Andrew is a very positive guy. I've never seen the guy in a bad mood, frankly. But again, he focuses on the basics, and he focuses on the basics in a way that can be annoying and irritating to the point of like, all right, I get it. I just need to do the basics. But he knows the system like the back of his hand. He knows what works. He knows what people should be doing. And so, I've had no complaints with Andrew. I think he's been a great coach.
Brett Ditton, I really do appreciate you carving out time to be here with us today. That wasn't a wood-related pun, but I also encourage people to check out your Sawtooth Wood Products. And what service area do you provide logs to, sir? What are the service areas?
Yeah, so at the moment, maybe we can scale at some point, but we're new in the industry here. So we're mainly in the Sun Valley area. We could ship logs everywhere, but we're mainly in Sun Valley area, Idaho, ski resort town situation.
Brett Denton, thank you for carving out time. Have a great day, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys. We appreciate you and really just appreciate how far you've taken us.
This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? Nice, right?
So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
So we really just want to thank you, Clay, and thank you, Vanessa, for everything you've done, everything you've helped us with. We love you guys.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.